Stringer had managed to arrange a meeting with Marlo, who chose an abandoned row house, and the two of them were the only ones there. Stringer was holding court, effectively talking at Marlo, who sat quietly and carefully observed Stringer's actions and words. "Forget everything the boy Bodie told you. Forget the beating. It ain't about that." Stringer began with an attempt to smooth over relations between both crews, and this was undoubtedly noticed by Marlo, but a leader such as him found these kinds of actions a sign of weakness. A lion never apologizes to a gazelle after trying to kill it, and in the same way, Marlo was completely unresponsive to Stringer's comment. Marlo was following Stringer with his eyes, as he was moving all over the room, almost like a moving target, dodging and weaving, trying not to remain stationary. He was moving around from corner to corner, looking at random spots and glancing out the window, searching here and there and checking out nothing in particular. Stringer continued, "You smart, man. I can see that. I wanted you to choose somewhere safe for us to speak, but goddamn, only bugs in this joint gonna have legs." Marlo didn't respond. He just stood in his spot, watching Stringer, and didn't offer anything back at all. Now, I appreciate smart, but you gotta know in this game, man, it ain't enough. You a student of history? You know this town had its share of smart players, man. Melvin, Little Will, Big Head Brother, Peanut, Warren. Marlo began to nod in agreement. But what was not clear was if he was nodding and acknowledging these past smart players, or if he was indeed acknowledging Stringer's unintended comparison of Marlo to these players. Stringer went on. "All real smart, man. But you know, soon as their names rang out, bam, the feds was on them. You know what I mean? Government ain't want you to be organised. They want you to scrimping and scraping and killing each other on some corner over some nonsense." None of this impressed Marlo. This nonsense is what made Marlo tick. Much like his 180 on what Bodie had said to him, Marlo found all of this an outward display of weakness. And in this line of business, to be soft is to be prey. Stringer had turned his attention now on the point of the meeting, which was to bring Marlo into the fold and incorporate him into the co-op. He continued, "Not me. That's why me and Prop Joe, we're getting ready to put this co-op together. Different crews, one package. Best dope, best coke. Share and share alike." Marlo finally spoke. "Been hearing about that." Offering little more than an entry-level acknowledgement response, carefully rationing his actions and his words, Marlo made sure he gave nothing away, especially since he had his suspicions about Stringer and didn't trust him at all. Stringer seemed to be impressed with Marlo's first words for the meeting. "You been hearing about that? That's good. That's a start, right?" Stringer went on, feeling like he had gotten a foot in the door with Marlo, and tried to continue to reel him in. "You know that Mercedes you got riding out there? You got that title in your aunt's name or something? Now, when they come and get you, that straw purchase out there is going to come and bite you in the ass, boy." Despite not showing any reaction to this, Marlo banked this little pearl of wisdom, and he wasn't seen in that Mercedes ever again. At least Marlo would get something meaningful at this meeting. Stringer went on, "That's what they do. They turn your money against you." His attempts to get Marlo to react weren't working. Marlo didn't buy Stringer's half-baked concern and warning, and continued glaring at him. "Now, you? I'm thinking with the corners that you got, you're close to $1 million, right?" "I'm doing all right," Marlo replied. Stringer had managed to get Marlo to speak again, bringing the grand total to 8 words spoken, give or take. Each word spoken was a victory for Stringer, who had previously had no luck communicating with Marlo or any of his soldiers. Not only was he hard to get a hold of, he was notoriously impossible to even get a message to. "You're doing alright, but alright ain't got your name on the crib, right? Ain't got you a little spot for you to wash that dirty money? That's what I'm offering you, man." What wasn't clear though was if this indeed was what Marlo wanted. And even with that in mind, even if he did want it, he almost certainly wouldn't want it from Stringer, who he didn't trust. Having beefed with him over corners in recent history, it didn't make sense to Marlo for Stringer to willingly offer these things to him. And if Stringer was indeed in the weak position, as Marlo most likely believed, then what sort of position was he really in the first place, to be offering anything to Marlo? It didn't make sense, least of all to a carnivore like Marlo, who wasn't known for taking carrots willingly offered to him. Marlo took corners, he wasn't given them, and much like this proposition, it caused alarm bells to ring for him. As both Marlo and Stringer finished off their meeting, they left the empty row house, and Marlo waited for all of Stringer's crew to leave the scene. He then called over his number 2. "Chris, tell our people to tool up." Again, with a scarcity of words uttered, his point was loud and clear. Chris, immediately on board with the plan, replied in the affirmative fashion. "I'm on it." Even though Stringer had extended the olive branch to Marlo, war was still on the horizon for both organizations.